Welcome to this latest edition of the Real Deal podcast. I'm your host, Ril Dil Quinn, episode 812, the Super Bowl wrap up. As always, for a week 22.
Ooh.
Yeah, we did basically, we missed a couple, but basically we did 20 weeks um, of the NFL season, the longest season in NFL history, and it wrapped up, of course. As always, I'm joined by one Rob Sapp. How you doing tonight, Mr. Sapp?
Oh, doing pretty good.
We have come to the end of the longest season in NFL history. 18 regular season weeks. You know, the postseason, like 22 weeks in all. And we crowned a champion on Sunday night, the
Good.
Los Angeles Rams, who we normally say won the week, but hey, they won the year. When you win a Super Bowl,
Super Bowl, you win.
yep, they won the year. They collect their second Super Bowl championship, their first since 1999, and ironically, of course, it was 99 who clinched it with a couple of game-winning plays. We'll certainly get into that. Listen, it all paid off. Going all in, all the gambles, the trades, the signings, everything. This is what
You did it.
this is what it is. This is what you
You did it.
this is what you sign up for. You go all in, and sometimes it pays off. It paid off in 2011 for the Dallas Mavericks. It paid off in 2006 with the Miami Heat. It paid off in '93 and in '97 with the Florida Marlins. Now, those are four situations out of countless others that have failed, but sometimes it pays off, and it paid off with the Rams. I respected, regardless of how this was going to end. And I said this during the season. I always respected the Ram approach. We're gonna go for it. We're trying to win a championship. We fuck these draft picks, whatever. This is what it is, and I always respected that approach. And it paid off in a major way. They needed every single one of those signings in order to get this done. You give again. It begins in this championship to me has to begin, of course, with the brilliance and the dominance of one Aaron Donald, who, again, ironically, wears 99. And that, of course, was the last Super Bowl championship that they won that 99 season. And he just, took over the game in the second half, took over in the second half after a relatively quiet first half. And he did, not prove, but we already knew this, that, hey,
By quiet, Real, I just want to point out, I watched this game a bunch of times. By
Yes.
quiet, you mean he triple team.
Yes, he was.
They
Yes,
had the ball
he was being. Yeah, it.
So
he was
if that's quiet, that they need.
Yes,
For
him.
Right.
But that's the stand. Yeah, for him, it was quiet. Not for mere mortals.
They had to pump every resource.
Yes, they did, and give, like, there were a number of winners for the Rams. Give Raheem Morris. He had a big time game because the adjustment was that overload to Joe Burrow's right side that they just couldn't handle, and that's when the floodgates broke open. The Rams only had one sack in the first half. They had 1 sack in the first half and had had 6 in the second half. And again, it seemed the Rams defensive line is kind of like a great offensive line over the course, especially these last two games. They just wore San Francisco down in the second half, and they wore Cincinnati's offensive line down in the second half. So it begins with Aaron Donald, his dominance, his presence, his greatness. That's what great players do. They raise the level of others. He raised the level of the entire team, because in this game, the Ram offense was really, for like a quarter, especially in the second half, from the time that Stafford threw that interception at the end of the first half to, like, basically the fourth quarter, the Ram offense was non-existent. And give Cincinnati's defense some credit for that as well. It really was a defensive game in the second half. Both defenses basically dominated the second half, minus the Joe Burrow long touchdown pass and the last Ram drive to win the game. It was a defensive game, and the Rams had to be dominant defensively because they couldn't do nothing offensively. They were down, Odell Beckham. You remember we forgot about. I didn't forget about. We didn't forget about. But Tyrone Higbee, the tight end, he didn't play. He didn't play in the game. So they were really limited, and they couldn't run the ball if their lives depended on it. Cincinnati completely shut down the running game. So McVay had to get creative with the play calling down the stretch of the game, especially that last drive. Listen, give McVay all the credit in the world. Got the ball to his best player, and his best player was Cooper Kupp. Like, look, I don't care about double triple teams. We're gonna get you the ball no matter what. So the Rams really had to like the coaching. We've done a lot of criticism of coaching over the course of the season and moves that we didn't understand just from various teams, various plays, various teams, various games. But this was not the game for that because the coaching on the Rams defensively and with McVay in the fourth quarter in that last drive, and also with Raheem Morris in that second half was tremendous. That's all there was to it. So they get the championship. Everything it pays off. I thought Donald should have been the Super Bowl MVP, but again, we know that the history of this game, the offensive player gets all the love. But Donald was clearly the best player on the field. Like, make no mistake about that. That was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He was clearly the best player on the field. I know Kupp had a couple of touchdowns, game-winning touchdown. Last time I seen, but in my mind, I was like, "There's no way Aaron Donald is not the MVP of this game." And I felt, I hadn't felt this way about a defensive player somewhat getting robbed since. And I hate to bring up a bad memory for you, but I thought James Washington should have been the MVP of the Super Bowl against your team the second time in that game. I really did. They gave it to Emmitt Smith. I thought James Washington. Huh?
The 30-13 one?
Yeah, the 30-13 one. I thought James Washington was the best player on the field in that game, but it's Emmitt Smith. And James Washington was not a big name like Aaron Donald was, not even close, of course. But that's the last time I thought about a defense player that should have got it, that should have won it, that didn't win it. But regardless, he gets his championship. Just again, icing on the cake for one of the greatest defensive players, one of the greatest players that this game has ever seen. I know you have a lot of thoughts. What was your overall thoughts on this contest? Very strange game. Really didn't have a flow to it per se. Go ahead.
Yeah, you texted me that. That's what I was going to say, and so I was thinking about that, and it was like, so I combined two things. So I was thinking about that, and then you said I have a lot to say on the game. I do, but I don't, because I think the lot to say and it being a strange game go hand in hand, and this is what I mean by that. In order to understand what happened this game, you had to really, really watch this game. Like, you had to really watch it, because these were two teams that were new to this stage together as these existing units, not franchise wise, and also weren't very used to game planning against each other. And what they were used to was that the coaches were intimately familiar with each other's styles. Yes. So there was a lot of chess match in this game, and you had to pay attention to everything. So, for example, just with like what you were talking about in terms of the line and whatever, how they shipped the line in the second half, they absolutely did. But that was a known quantity. Like, everybody knew that before the game. Like, even the lay fans knew the right guard, he was the issue. That was the point to pressure. And so when they held off in the first half, I'm like, well, why are they doing that? Well, for the first quarter, I'm like, well, why are they doing that? And then it dawned on me as I was watching the game. And this actually honestly happens in a lot of games. It's just the louder points just start to drown out the finer ones. There weren't just any really big loud points outside the face mask or whatever. The reason that a shift like that happens at that point in time is because I'm really, really confident that Cincinnati was playing cat and mouse. So was Los Angeles, meaning they were attacking a strength first to see if they could poke holes on it, and then went for the known weakness later in the game.
Yeah,
when it's game winning time. It's very risky to do things, and they both did things like that a lot in this game. And so again, they saved Cooper Kupp for the time it needed Cooper Kupp. They saved all of that. Anyway, Point being, lots of different things in there. But I think that goes into the sense it's a strange game. It's a strange game because the big kind of louder talking points that we normally talk about in terms of a game, quarterback play being a big one, right? Like
Right.
there was no hot take on the quarterback play. Both played fine. I mean, like nothing like too amazing, nothing too horrible. They both played fine.
Right.
The defenses played solid to good. And then what you ended up having, and this is what this ended up proving, and this I've had this gnawing feeling ever since the fourth quarter of the Buffalo Kansas City game. When I'm staring at my number one ranked defense in the league, I'm going, we don't have anybody that can make a play when San Francisco is on it.
Right.
I mean,
You mean Kansas City? Yeah.
City on it. Like, I'm like, somebody make a play, and there's nobody to make that play. And so what this game boiled down to ultimately was the Rams had two dudes that could make a play.
Yep.
When the team needed them to make a play, no matter how well the opposing side was playing on each side, and took different gambles in order to open up those opportunities at the time, right? Like what is it? The saying is, I'm gonna butcher this. I'm not even gonna do it. But point being, they created the opportunities for those players to make those plays at the times when they needed to make them. And that's really hard to put your finger on in a bullet point. You have to watch it time. You can't. That's not a red zone game, right? Like where you can just watch touchdowns or just watch that play and understand what happened in that game. Like you had to watch every part of ebbs and flows. With the Super Bowl and so many distractions, it makes it even a little bit more challenging to really drill down into that game. But when you get into the essence of this game, just the nitty gritty of it, two players on the Rams made plays when their team needed to make plays, and there was nobody on the Bengals that did that.
No, pure and simple. No, pure and simple. It was kind of like you'll see this you'll see this a lot in game sevens, especially in the NBA in game sevens when you get conference championships or especially in particular NBA finals, where a lot of those games are just defensive struggles. And to your point, because it's the familiarity of you played this team 7 times, you probably played them a couple times, of course, in the regular season. And like I said, it just comes down to, at that point, you can toss all the game plans, toss all the scouting, toss all that aside. It's about just making plays at that point. Yep. Like who's going to make the play, right? Who's going to make the biggest play at the biggest moment? Who's not? Besides the fact that who's not going to make the catastrophic mistake. And in this game, there was no real catastrophic mistake like pick six.
Really, really quickly.
Go ahead.
My favorite thing, and I put this under the bucket of head coaches. They're just like us. McVay, in his press conference the following morning, which is really brutal for the winning head coach. I will have to agree with him on that. That's a tough ask. I mean, early morning press conference after winning the Super Bowl. That's a tough ask.
That is.
That's a tough one.
It is what it is. Yep.
Come on. Yeah. Come on. But anyways, they get paid millions of dollars, so whatever.
Yeah, they do.
They'll live. They'll live. He'll be all right.
It's tougher the losing coach after the game. That's a tough.
I've never known how they do that. That is just being a head coach. I don't even understand that type of composure. I could not handle that. I'd be quite honest with you. You don't want to talk to me after talking. That's not the time. That just ain't the time. I gotta have some time. Anyways, the thing that McVay said, coaches just like us, he said, I was mic'd up so you guys will get to hear it. When they lined up in shotgun, I said, Aaron Donald's going to close this game. That's what McVay said. I said that exact same thing in my head as it was going on. I was like, oh, this game is over. I was like, they're going shotgun on 4th and 1? I was like, this is over. Aaron got this. Absolutely.
Let me.
I couldn't like that one. and the 3rd and 1 will be the things that the Bengals.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's discuss that because there were two
for the rest of their lives.
plays that were kind of were very shaky. Let's go to the second one. So 2nd and 1, they decide to throw a long pass that had no chance. They still had 2 timeouts.
To your
and I'm
point,
like,
I have no problem with the long pass, but you can't just airball that.
yeah, no, that's my point. That has had no chance to make a play.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I have no problem. Of course,
No, I have no problem with a long pass on 2nd and 1. No.
To do a play do something like so. I'm fine to call, but you can't airmail it. You just can't.
Right.
You can't airmail that.
Yeah, that's the issue. The 3rd and 1 run was like, ooh, I was like, and I'm not. I was like, ooh, that was a first guess. I was like, I don't know about that one.
You know what the big deal about that entire series was, right? And then every call on that, who was it in the game?
You talking about Chase?
Nope.
Who?
They running the ball. So who wasn't in the game? Who would you think you would want in the game?
Oh, Mixon.
There you go.
Mixon, yeah. Mixon, that's right. Yeah. If you're gonna run the ball, I think you kind of would want to have your number 1 guy, the number 1 back in the game.
That's just it. Like I get
that's
it. And this is you're going pains of a young team, growing coaching staff.
Yep.
Does this bury him? Does it make him better? All the questions, right? But it's just like I like in your normal regular season mind, you have plays for specific guys in a rhythm. That's a play that's designated for whatever his last name is. I'm not
Perrine.
Sure. What he would be known for is not making that damn first down. For sure. Okay.
Which he was stopped by Aaron Donald on that play.
Yeah. Aaron Donald just dragged him back and said, nah, you're not getting that.
Yeah.
Come here. You're not doing that.
Yep.
Yeah, nah. He's like, you're not going for it. Which is why, again, so yeah, that's why you want your special talent.
Right.
Because your special talent can get you that extra 6 inches.
Yep. Yeah.
So even though, the play practice ran all year for him, sure. But that's the difference between regular season and the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You can't. The reason why that things like that will haunt players, coaches for the rest of their lives is because you didn't go out guns blazing on that one.
Right.
You didn't go out guns blazing.
Yeah.
You got to, what we're saying, you get your best players out there, you put them in position to make the play, and they either do or don't, or the team does. The other team does or doesn't. The second guessing, I did not have my best guy on 3rd and 1 in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that would drive me nuts. Yeah, that would drive. Well, I mean, listen.
To tie the gut, like no.
Yeah.
Like you come on. You can't do that.
No.
You can't do it.
No.
You can't. At the very least, even if you're coaching from a scare standpoint, it's like I don't want to take the blame for not having my best player out there on this call. Nobody in the world would blame you for running on 3rd and 1 with Joe Mixon and if Aaron Donald stops him, he stops.
No, he stops him. He's a great player.
Nobody's blaming you on that one.
But your backup running back, nah.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah,
that's a rough one.
I can't overlook that one, sir. I can't.
No, you can't. No, that's a rough one.
I can't. And it's just confounding because, again, it's then even larger than that. The packages he was sending out for that drive were what's his name? Pereira? See, I'm just not gonna learn this guy's name.
Perrine.
Let me stop being disrespectful. Perrine. The packages out there were for Perrine, so that was his series. So they were going like he still had this prescripted idea.
Yeah, this is not like to your point. Like this was a regular season game. This was regular season.
That locked in. You can't. Not now. Not now. And
No.
at the very least, always you err on best players on the field. Err on that all the time.
I don't care if Mixon's running on fumes. Yeah, I don't care.
Nope. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
No.
And then, yeah. You just got like everything plays differently in my mind if you have your number 1 running back on the field who's a threat.
Right.
Everything plays differently when you take that off the board. I just think you take something away that doesn't need to be taken away. Even if it's just, we talk like all defensive and offensive players talk about this all the time. All you're trying to do with the defense is just have them hesitate for half a second.
That's all. Yeah.
Just that extra. So just see, like, is he that? There's that. That's you just need that. It's just need it. That's all you need.
So
if Mixon gives you that, perfect. At the very least, he's definitely not going to reduce it more than Perine. Yeah. Perine. This name is impossible for me to pronounce for some reason. He's definitely not going to give them any less hesitation. So it just doesn't make any sense. Other than you were being dogmatic to your play calling style, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
The biggest thing.
That's one of those that you have a lot. Zach Taylor will have definitely some sleepless nights thinking about that without questioning. I mean, I'm sure, and it's been 7 years. I'm sure Pete Carroll still has nightmares about not running Marshawn Lynch on that pass play. I'm sure.
That's not even nightmares, homie. That was egregious.
That's therapy.
That was unforgivable. That is a sin, and he should wear that for his entire life and seek atonement always. You threw a Super Bowl away. You gave the effing Patriots a Super Bowl.
Yep.
How dare you? That's all I have to say to that. How dare you?
Here were the no question about it. Here were the
all of the Rams.
Yeah, here were the Bengal possessions, second-hand possessions in the possessions in the second half. So they get the big play. 75-yard touchdown. We'll talk later about the non-call. We'll talk about that when we get to Jalen Ramsey. So the one play 75 yards, then 8 plays 11 yards, 3 plays -3 yards, 3 plays 5 yards, 5 plays -2 yards, 7 plays 24 yards, and the last drive 5 plays 26 yards. So in essence, they did nothing in the second half. Nothing.
Yeah, the boys on defense said no more. No more. Yeah. We're done with you guys scoring.
Yeah.
No more.
The Ram defense again. And I loved how Raheem Morris mixed up his coverages. Like we talked about the overload, that 3-man overload, but that was, they blitzed that time. They did an excellent job at time. They did some well-timed blitzes. You saw him drop. You saw him go to the traditional, 4-man rushing. He did a tremendous job mixing up his coverages, mixing up his defenses, and really, throwing Cincinnati's rhythm off in that second half. Cincinnati never got to a rhythm.
That McVay knew was able to convey to defense team, like how everything like that, right? He knew that when homeboy Sean Taylor was there during the coaching staff, they had golf, right?
Right.
And that offense was built on a certain type of way. And with that, within that mindset, that offense and its ability to stretch the field was not a thing. And so it was 1,000% acceptable and encouraged to take the check down. So what they knew was if they flooded, because the Rams actually broke out the 3-man line a lot earlier.
Yeah, in the second quarter. It was late in the second quarter.
Or they had shown at any other time this year. And what that says to me is they knew if they flooded the back end. Taylor was going to coach Burrow to check it down always, right?
Right.
And Burrow being young, and this is the debate that was going on in my head, and it was answered. I was like, well, what if Burrow's great? Burrow can still be great, but he's normal great. He's going to go through the normal progression of developing, right?
Right.
I'm just adding words on, but special great, which is Tom Brady, Joe Montana, where that shit just comes out of nowhere. It's just like, how did he do that at this age and this experience? That shouldn't even be possible. So what the gamble is that Burrow wouldn't be able to see the holes back there. He would just be so locked into what the coach said. Coach said, don't turn the ball over, check it down. And he did that.
No.
The entire game. But
he played a clean game. No, Burrow played a clean game considering he was
Burrow. Here's the point. The defense is at the disadvantage when they have to think about what the offense is doing, right? The offense knows what it's doing, what's have to do. The offense dictates the terms, and it's easier for the offense when you just do what the defense is giving you. They are dictating the terms.
Yep.
That's my point. The Rams defense, because they understood the offensive philosophy of the Bengals. They understood the ability of the quarterback and the offensive weapons around them. Amazingly talented as they are, but young and just don't know the game. That was the understanding the game Super Bowl. That really was. All the intricacies of it. And so understanding that and knowing that, they knew they were able to surmise that Burrow would not step out of that game plan, and that means they would be able to keep everything in front of them, which then means, Ril, that they could just continue pounding that offensive line from all angles. Because they were never on their heels.
No.
Maybe there was like a quarter or half.
Well,
the
key. No, here's
the Bengals were about to step on their throat.
Yeah, this game changed when you go back to the first half, right? You go Stafford interception. All right, Bengals are in great shape going into halftime. I'll text you at 13-10. Immediate 75-yard touchdown. They're up 17-13. Interception on the next play from Stafford, who threw the ball somewhat behind the receiver. Ball gets tipped. The ball not tipped, but they get an interception immediately, and their defense, the Ram defense, holding them to a field goal at 20-13 was big in that spot. That game could have got away quickly at 17-13. 24. I be honest with you, if Cincinnati scored a touchdown at 17-13 to make it 24-13, I don't think the Rams win the game.
There's always a point in a Rams game, or at least definitely that late second half. Even in the game, I mean, of course they won the other game. In the playoffs, there's always a point in the game where that offense is going to give the game away. There's always been a point.
We saw it.
And there was a point like that. I kept not nudging my brother because I was on the phone with him, but I keep going I'm like, see what's happening? Start like that. See, yep. It's happening. And that defense has just had to withstand that. And not only withstand that, but especially in a game like this, they just straight up imposed their will.
Yep.
It didn't matter what the offense was doing. But Aaron Donald was on that sideline just being like, yo, please, when they were down 4, just make a play.
Yeah.
We're stopping them. I just need y'all to make a play, any play. Those reactions to him were classic. Oh, man.
They were. I mean, yeah, you're watching the Super Bowl through his eye, through his lens.
I said to my brother when they were down on the goal line, when the Rams were, I was like, yo, they should just give everybody down the ball. Just tell them run that. You want it? Here. Go get it, boy.
Speaking of the Ram offense, Matthew Stafford is a Super Bowl champion. Now, if you're somebody who has been pounding on Stafford for years upon years, okay, that's fine. He, only 2 playoff appearances with Detroit. We know how roller coaster he could be, peaks and valleys, inconsistent he could be. He could be spectacular at times. He could be horrible at times. But the bottom line is, they were in this game 3 years ago, and they scored 3 points. He was the difference between them winning the Super Bowl now versus when they didn't win the Super Bowl. They had a great, matter of fact, their defense played spectacular in that New England game. Goff was Goff. So you took his team down, 15 plays, 79 yards. That is what a championship quarterback does. We know what Goff. We know what not Goff. We know what Stafford is. We don't rank him all the time, but he did his job. Period. Did his job.
At this point, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we think. He got a Super Bowl.
Yep.
It literally doesn't matter.
And like I said, he was the difference between them winning this year versus them losing against New England, because Goff was horrible in that game.
There isn't even a debate. There's not even a debate. There's nobody that can even engage in that debate.
Real or not, this question was kind of answered today at the Ram parade. Aaron Donald is not going to retire. Like, I know that was, I know when he did the pregame, not his interview in the pregame. When Michelle Tafoya comes out and says, this could be his last game, and when they did all the pregame stuff, talking to him over the course of the week and what have you, if they were to win it, and that kind of that kind of lit the internet up a little bit, but. I never believed it. I know players are retiring earlier than ever now, with the money and concussions, things of that nature. And we've seen over the last decade a number of players retired in their early 30s. But that never was real to me. But it was a story. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean it's proved not real. Here's what's here. It was ridiculous from the start. But here's the thing. He's an all-world, all-universe player.
Right.
Those guys don't retire early.
No.
Like that, like there are others, absolutely. Those guys don't retire. So that just no.
And by the way,
he's been playing all this time in this relatively healthy, all the different things like that. And you don't think he wants to bask in the glory of being champion? Come on now. The Rams might not be great, but they're going to be competitive next year.
Right.
Oh, why would he walk away? Why? That's
right.
Insane.
Yeah.
All the money's going to make. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like people, I got to understand. Yes, all the physics, everything, but they've signed up for this, and they've signed up for this since they've been children, right?
Yep.
So it's not only the dreams, just the financial and opportunities. You're not going to get that anywhere else. And so when you can do it at a high level,
especially when you
had nothing to play, literally nothing to play for, literally nothing. He had done everything.
Well,
they don't retire.
That's well, especially now, especially when you haven't had any major injuries.
Yeah,
of note. So
no mortals don't retire, and even that you got killed. Dying on his way out the door. They just don't. They're not built that way. That's why they're immortal.
Like the only guy we saw basically retired at the top of his game. We saw there are two guys that come to mind: Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson.
And they both played for Detroit.
No. This is true. Enough said. They both played Detroit. This is enough said. Yep. And of course, way back in the day, Jim Brown. And he went to go make movies.
Yeah, because again, the financial opportunities
to make movies. Yes, to make movies.
Sports was not the same. The financial incentive was nowhere.
Jim Brown in 2022
more profitable for Jim Brown.
Yes, in 2022, Jim Brown doesn't retire.
Jim Brown to leave the NFL than stay in the NFL.
Right. Yes, Jim Brown doesn't retire in 2022. Period.
That's not even the same world. You're not talking
about. Going all in. So the Rams. We know that the NFL is a copycat league with defenses and offensive concepts. Everybody wants to copy the Super Bowl winner. I want to warn all 31 other franchises. Well, not all 30, but there are going to be some teams that
don't put all of us in this.
Everybody's not in this. Everybody's not in this, of course. But there are going to be a number of teams that try to replicate what the Rams just did in terms of going all in. Here's what I'll say. Be careful, because what you have to realize is the Rams don't win. You still have to draft Aaron Donald. You still have to draft a Cooper Kupp. You still have to draft a Jared Goff, who became a valuable trade asset to get Matthew Stafford. Period. And you have to hit on if you're trading all these picks, you have to hit on the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth round picks.
No, there's no if on that. There's no if on that. This is about the championship, and then they're gonna be horrible when that bill comes due. Ain't nobody hitting on no second and third round picks consistently.
No, but my point is,
Great
don't think that
organization.
you can replicate what the Rams just did
Right.
for most teams. Most teams, the teams that should try to be going all in are like the
No, I don't
Packers.
think that. I think you're wrong on this point, Real. I think you're overreaching just a little bit, just because like all you have to do is just name your team. You talking about your team, the Commanders. We don't want the Commanders to get into this habit again. They were really bad at it. They are really bad.
We should not go all in. No, we shouldn't go all in.
They're really
No.
bad. You need to be a smart organization. You do.
Right.
You do.
Yes.
Because
That's my point.
Like, people. I know. People take lessons like this, and you're absolutely accurate. This is the worry and the fear of what the league will take lessons from, that you can just buy a championship.
Right. That's yes.
But the biggest piece of this is just because you go just pushing your chips all in. So this comes from a poker analogy, right? All in, right?
Yeah.
The idea is you have a really good hand and you want to maximize your value. So you're going to push all in. And that maximizing your value comes with a gamble, because you don't know what if the player has a better hand than you, but you have a pretty good hand. So you're willing to risk it all.
Right.
That's the part that teams miss. That's what you're warning about. You can't go all in if you have 7 deuce offsuit. No chance of getting a full house, 4 of a kind. Like, you can't do that. A lot of these teams have really crappy starting cards.
Right.
When you have really crappy starting cards, you cannot go all in. You fold. That's what you do.
You can't go on. You cannot go all in if you don't have a quarterback.
That go all in have good hands to start with.
Right.
Good players, good organizational, good coaches, good, all of that. Those teams can go all in.
But here's the thing too. Les Snead and that organization, it's not like they're just throwing darts. They know what the fuck they're doing. Period. This is there's a method to this madness. It's not like they just started going all in this year. They've been giving away draft picks for years upon years, and they've been consistently winning. So it's not like this wasn't like this. We just came up with this shit in 2021 and it just happened to work out now. No, they've been building towards this for years upon years upon years upon years. And they had enough, like to your point, they had enough foundational pieces to where they could execute it.
There you go. Whenever teams do this, that's always their biggest mistake. That's always their biggest mistake. The biggest part of this move by the Rams. And honestly, I'm on the fence. Like me right now, my age, my experience level, even still, I'm not sure I want my franchise to certainly tank its future for one Super Bowl championship. I don't know if I.
No, because you have a quarterback that's only like 25 years old.
No. I'm just taking all name. I'm saying my franchise, just whoever I root for. I'm not putting players in there. The philosophy, Surreal, I'm attacking.
Okay.
I do not know if I agree with that philosophy, if I've ever agreed with that philosophy.
No, I fundamentally don't agree with it. No, I fundamentally don't. I still think you build through first round picks and that what have you. I fundamentally don't agree with it.
My point in that is it was successful for them.
Yeah.
In this particular circumstance, I don't think this is a philosophy that can be copied.
I agree with that. No, I agree with that. I mean, again, this has happened. They're really the only team that's done it. Like I don't even put Tampa in that. But I know Tampa got some veterans, but the bottom line is Tampa had a number of talented players before they got Tom Brady, and they had a number of talented.
That's the point. I mean, like
Tom Brady, yes, that was Tom.
That's Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. I mean, like
right.
Aaron Rodgers going somewhere. You're not thinking about those. There's nothing to think about with those. Get him, and then you worry about everything else later.
Right.
To your point. But to your point, even the Stafford edition, you can't add Stafford if you don't have a McVay there.
No.
And you can't even add Stafford if McVay's in those first couple of years head coaching with Goff, right?
Right.
Like McVay needed to go through some evolution
Yep.
in order for him to be the coach that could shift and adjust and stop Stafford from his own worst instincts sometimes. And honestly, stop himself from his own worst instincts with Stafford sometimes.
Yep.
Like McVay early on, I don't know if would have been able to do that.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that even in this circumstance, there were so many variables.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was a perfect storm of everything. They got the guys that they got. Obviously, were talented players, and they all bought in. Even Odell Beckham, like
Right.
everybody bought into like, let's get this right now.
And the reason Odell Beckham is willing to go there is because who was it? Donald called him up. I think it said, "Come to LA."
Von Miller called him up. Yeah,
Von Miller. Yeah. Von Miller called him up and said, "Come to LA." And in that particular point in time, him and Cleveland, who lets go of a top wide receiver in the middle of the season? I want to stab the Rams for that. I'm Cleveland for that to this day. It's just, I'm so glad my team was in the Super Bowl. I'd be so angry and hot at them. Why? Why would you do that, Cleveland? Why would you do that? Who does that? So again, these aren't circumstances that can be replicated predictably over any period of time. So you're absolutely right. NFL team, this is not the lesson to learn from this game at all.
Kyler Murray's riff with the Cardinals. Now apparently, he wasn't happy that he felt like that they threw him under the bus after the playoff loss. There was also some talk that he's immature, that he doesn't take feedback well. I just like
yeah.
This is a thing where this is a situation to me where two things probably are true. They probably did throw him under the bus, but you know what? When you have one of the worst performances,
it's bad, brother. It's bad.
Like, yo,
that's bad.
That's part of playing quarterback. That's part of playing quarterback.
Right time. This ain't the right time. This ain't the time to be like they're picking on me. Like, nah.
No, not after that performance. No.
You don't get to just chuck a ball up in the end zone for a pick. No. They talk about everybody being mean to me. No, can't hear it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't. And here's my thing. When you to me, you're a young player who had a horrible performance. I didn't hear the coaches publicly shit on him.
Nah, nobody.
Per se.
Nah.
So I'm like, my point is like, what is your deal? Like you haven't been in a league long enough to you have not established yourself to be crying at the you're not Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Like you haven't been you're a baby. Like what are we talking about here? Like you're not buying the franchise. Well, how about not buying you right now? When I first saw this, I'm like, who the fuck is Kyler Murray? What has he done to justify being not trusting the franchise and complaining? I'm like, dude, you got to the playoffs, cool. We know how talented you are, but shut the fuck up. Just get better. How about that? Hello?
Oh, okay. Turn it over to me.
Yeah, no, yeah. I was done. Go ahead.
So I kept saying, I'm blaming for this, right? And you kept ignoring me. So now I'm going to ask you a question. I'm blaming for this, right?
Who?
Philly, in the process. Blame.
You think James Harden?
Absolutely. And here's what I mean by that. He's trying to be a mini Ben Simmons right now, and two different sports,
right?
Two different circumstances.
Or you talking about mini James Harden, not Simmons. You mean Harden?
No, Ben Simmons. He's trying to be like they were mean to me.
Gotcha. Okay. I got you.
Yeah, exactly. No,
gotcha.
I know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
I got you. No, I got you.
Because when you incur, so this goes all the way back to the process. We're going to tank our franchise to get a talent. So automatically, when you do that, you say you are more valuable than the franchise.
Right.
So you already give them that. So you're more valuable than the franchise.
Yep.
Then Kyler Murray. So now let's swing it over to Kyler Murray, right? Kyler Murray is lauded. I'm not saying they gave him the message you are the franchise, because the NFL doesn't do that, which is, again, this is a key point that NFL players really need to pay attention to on this. You want to do what basketball players want to do, but you can't move as they want to move in this existing environment. You got to make change elsewhere before you can start talking all the same stuff they're talking about. So that's first of all. You're not just basketball, football, two different sports, two different entities of management. So that's number one. The second piece of that is in with like fandom has lost its mind with how we coddle our best players. We've lost our minds. We've lost our way, and that is what it is. We've just lost our way. Here's what can't happen. The organizations can't lose it. They really can't. Because then you get caught up in situations like this. Was anybody shitting on Kyler Murray after that game? No. And definitely nowhere near or even Ben Simmons level. He didn't like comments that were said. That's fine. Whatever. The fact that like I didn't like, where I blame Philly is in the ability of empowering their players to the point in time where they can bitch and moan and can get everything gifted towards them, i.e. I'm calling Ben Simmons freaking emotions all these times. And so players see things like that, and that sets a precedent. So that's why I'm blaming Philadelphia. What Kyler Murray is basically saying is my feelings were hurt and I was sad that we lost the game. And because I was sad and hurt that we lost the game, what I needed to hear was, it's not your fault, Kyler. This is your first game, Kyler. You'll be okay, Kyler. You're still the greatest thing ever, Kyler. And what he heard just around was, hey, Kyler, you didn't play so great. Hey, Kyler, you kind of melted down there. Hey, Kyler, why did you throw that ball out of the end zone from your back, not identifying a receiver right into the defensive back's hand for a pick six in a playoff game? Kyler, you can't do that stuff. So for the first time in his life, he is hearing you're not the greatest thing ever.
Yep.
And he took offense to that.
Yep.
And what I encourage the Cardinals organization to do is not kowtow to that. It's not kowtow to that. Get better. Plain and simple.
Yep.
There's too many quarterbacks out here that will take your head off if you're not in the game. Now, can I get to like my conspiracy side of this?
Go ahead.
I think Kyler and the coach were partying before the game. That's where I'm going.
You got to do a party for.
No, they look so out. Like Coach Ed, quarterback, looks so out of sorts. Like, yo, y'all had to be doing drugs before the game, chilling. Like, yo, I can't, yo.
Oh man.
Please, somebody report. I was hoping that was the report that you said. They was out wilding out like before the game. Like they both looked hung over and played and coached like it. Both of them need to go on that time, like sit everybody down. We got our butts kicked. We embarrassed ourselves. We got to get way better.
Yeah,
it's just that simple. Right now, comments like that and things like that do not make me worried about Kyler Murray at all. As a Raider.
No.
So, yeah, brother. Yeah. Like this thing, like, yeah, nobody's going to get excited about your initial 7 games. Nobody's going to get excited anymore.
No.
As you achieve in the NFL, the bar keeps getting raised high until it's the Super Bowl. Then guess what? You got to do it again. And then guess what? You got to do it again. And then guess what? You got to do it again. So if this little bit of mental anguish is going to cause rifts, whoo, that's not quarterback energy I want any part of as a fan. You can keep that over there.
No two ways about it. Biggest disappointments.
It's not Apple, and it's not close.
Yo.
It's not close. It's not close. Eli Apple.
So
He bad throughout the whole entire playoffs, but he got just absolutely abused in this game.
yeah, he had a rough one, especially in the fourth quarter on that last drive when they were like, you know what, Eli Apple does play for Cincinnati, and we're going.
I was trying to explain to my brother. I was like, the Rams don't ever throw fades. Like they don't throw those throws. I was so like, he's like, why are you so confused? That was the obvious matchup. I was just like, they don't make those. And then he was like, you see who's on it, right? I was like, you're right. You're so right. You do. When Eli Apple's on you one-on-one and you're Cooper Kupp and you Stafford, you see that, you go to that every time. Damn if you practice it or not. We doing this.
Yeah.
Because this is easy money.
Yeah, it was. And the thing about it is, man, when you get well, no, here's another reason why he's one of the biggest disappointment. His biggest disappointment, besides his performance in the Super Bowl, you can't sit up here and because when they beat Kansas City, he was talking all the shit to the Kansas City Chiefs.
He did not play well in that game either. But okay.
Oh no, exactly. But you know the team won, and he was talking all the shit.
Yeah, daddy I'm out. But
these guys don't learn. You wait till you actually win the championship to go all in and talk shit. These guys just don't learn. Like you had with your team. You had Kansas City talking bad shit after they beat y'all, and then they lose a home game to Cincinnati. Like these guys just don't learn. They are so in the moment, so ready to get on Twitter and what have you, and Instagram and go back and forth. Like, yeah, you can't talk shit and then get lit up in the Super Bowl, and then on top of it, they will be showing that play forever. You live in infamy. That play will be the game winning touchdown pass was caught on you. You will see that a zillion times over the course of the next 30 years. So there's no escaping that. There's none. Jalen Ramsey had a rough day. If it's not for Eli Apple and if it's not for Cincinnati losing the game, for the Ram defense, Jalen Ramsey would have been the GOAT of this game because he got toasted a couple times. That touchdown. Now, I'm going to get back to an earlier point about the non-call on the face mask. The reason why it wasn't called was Jalen Ramsey's own fault, and it was an equipment thing. Jalen Ramsey wears a shield on his face mask, so when who's the receiver? T. Higgins. When Higgins went to glanced his hand over his face mask, if that shield is not there, then he probably grabs the face mask. That play that and then it becomes an obvious one. The referee definitely throws the flag because he probably jerks his head. That's Jalen Ramsey's fault. Like that like they weren't in a game where plays move so fast. I could see the referee missing that call from that standpoint. But yeah, he had a rough game for Ramsey, who we know could takes chances. And he almost took a bad chance on that last drive where Chase had the big play at the beginning of that drive. So rough day for Ramsey. The Super Bowl MVP vote. Now, here's the thing: before people say I'm hating on Cooper Kupp, I'm not. I'm not even going to go to Kupp versus Dono. We've already discussed that. I want to go to the fucking process on how they actually go about voting.
Well, it's
insane. Right? Insane.
Right? So, isn't it about the third quarter?
No. No. So there's two things. Number one, fans have 25% of the vote, which is insane. It's insane. A fan. It's one thing the Pro Bowl, the All-Star game, a MVP vote of a Super Bowl. The fans have zero part of that. So they have 25% of the vote. The second thing is they stopped voting before the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter, which was a major problem because Aaron Donald made mad plays and Cooper Kupp had a touchdown, but they not inside, but before that, his touchdown came right before that. Well, no, a little bit after that. It was after the 2-minute warning. So you missed three of the most important plays in the whole game. You missed the Cooper Kupp touchdown if you took the voting before that, and you missed two dominant plays that Aaron Donald made to clinch the game. You can't It's not hard. Like, wait till the whole fucking game is over. This is a Super Bowl. It's not the All-Star game. This is a Super Bowl. Wait till the game is over to vote and keep it moving. So that whole format process needs to be just thrown away. And like you can't the fan thing. When I found about that, I was like, what are we doing here?
Your points are valid, and both of those things need to be fixed. But there's also another underlying.
What was it?
To attention. I'm trying to figure out how not to say this in such an inflammatory way. So I'll just simply say it this way. Offense outranks defense.
Oh yeah, easily.
Know how to appropriately gauge the impact. No, I'm saying it fundamentally. Everyone who is looking at games, measuring games, talking about games, have fundamentally lost the ability to appropriately measure defensive impact versus offensive impact.
Right.
It's quite simply easier to look at the printout, say Cooper Kupp has 2 touchdowns, MVP, has the touchdown MVP.
Right.
What does quarterback pressure mean? How is it defined, and how does that impact the game?
Right.
You can't answer those questions, then there's no way a defensive player is being voted MVP.
Yeah.
So that all your other points, you're 100% right, and that will play itself out several times in MVP voting with offensive players, probably quarterback versus another skill position out there. It might rear its ugly head in that way. But in terms of a defensive player getting voted the MVP, we gotta rethink how we judge defense so that we give them their appropriate amount of respect so that they can be seen on equal footing as the offense and even have people looking their way and being able to digest their statistics.
No question about it. Because like you have to be a more sophisticated viewer of the game than to just look at sacks. Like that it's just. I mean, that's not in. Aaron Donald had a couple sacks, but that his impact goes way beyond any sack number or tackles. Like no, like in that the thing that pissed me off about him not winning the. Hold on.
He's a defensive tackle.
Right.
They're never going to be sexy.
No, exactly. No, exactly. Or they're never going to be high tackle players. That's for linebackers.
Here is where we need it. Honestly, this is where commentary people talk outside. This is actually where we needed people to lift this up outside of just the regular BS that they talk about. We needed people to uplift how impact. Everybody says Aaron Donald's the greatest, but very few people talk about why he's the greatest.
Right.
How he impacts the game.
Yep.
And definitely we don't talk about that at the volume of Aaron Rodgers and his 4 interceptions throughout the year, right? We definitely don't talk about it at that volume. So it's a whole engine that gets Aaron Donald to that MVP vote that he just didn't have because he's a defensive tackle.
Right.
The system's racist. It's defensive tackle racist. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess the biggest problem I had with him not winning it was the fact that, to me, the defense was the reason why he won that game. And nobody, there was no, like, before the first interception, Stafford was headed, like, runaway, because Stafford was playing out of his mind the first quarter and a half. He really was before that pick. Like, he started out like 8 for 9, and it was like 11 for 13. So I thought like Stafford was going to be a runaway. But then that interception happened, and Stafford was okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Stafford became Stafford. Yeah. So at that point, like no one offensively on either team stood out.
To me, it's a tad bit depressing, Ril, because if this year he could win MVP,
no year. Yeah.
A defensive player's
right.
Win.
No year.
That dude in this year in that game can't get MVP. I don't know what players.
What? Yeah. No.
Honestly, no. And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't even think it's a thing. I think we could probably say defense. We could retire MVPs for defense unless they start splitting it. Offensive MVP of the game, defensive MVP of the game. Unless they start doing something like that. Otherwise, outside of like Larry Brown, I'm not saying there's never a chance a defensive back doesn't pick a couple of touchdowns and go to the house, but how likely is that?
Right.
Like something like that.
Or if you play like with Baltimore and Ray Lewis, you play on an all-time great single season defense that gets rewarded, and that's what happened in that game. We got rewarded.
Right. Exactly. But Ray Lewis is very close.
And Ray Lewis was a beast. Yeah, he was a beast in that game. Yeah, no, he was a beast in that.
Not only that, but his personality radiated out too. Aaron Donald's not that type of. He's not a character.
No,
alone. He just destroys offenses. That's what he does.
Right.
Which should be enough, but that's where we need other people, because it's much easier to talk about, honestly, even a linebacker than an interior defensive lineman.
Right.
Everybody's
it's not a sexy. I mean, it's not
a
sexy defensive position like linebacker or cornerback, like from that standpoint.
You know what? The defensive tackle needs a Lawrence Taylor. I think Lawrence Taylor opened the door. No, that's not true. Linebackers were always a glamour position in the NFL.
You talking about Warren Sapp? You talking about Warren Sapp?
I would say yes. That's a good one. That's a good one. Now I was thinking Lawrence Taylor opened it up for MVPs for the linebackers, but the linebackers always been a glamour position, so that's why I was saying scratch that point. Warren Sapp was a really good one. That's a good one. That's a good point. I don't know if I have a point anymore, to be honest with you.
I left one person off that could have been the biggest disappointment. Not on a nominee. A nominee. I had some of you might not know his name, but I'm sure when this happened, a lot of people knew his name. Vernon Hargreaves. You know who that is?
No, have no clue.
So that's exactly. So when when Stafford threw the interception at the late in the second quarter, they got a penalty for excess celebration. The reason why
that was homeboy. That was your cousin.
Yes. The dude that ran on the field.
I called my brother. I was like, your homeboy off the field. Running off the field, celebrating. Oh boy. I hope they cut him that second. And then made him take a bus home. How dare you? If you don't sit over by craft services and eat that cheese and watch the game, woo! I'm
telling you, you could have easily mistaken him for a fan that came out the stands. I'm like, who is this dude?
I don't know how to I would have been restrained. I would have lost my mind. I can't even handle the thought process. You non-playing mofo. This is the effing Super Bowl. What are you doing?
And by the way,
nobody in the history of ever has ever done this.
No, ever.
What is your problem?
And by the way, that was a key penalty because that drove them back to the 10-yard line. You got a great field goal kicker. Maybe you can get inside. That was a key penalty in the game that was close.
Remove him from my sight. Get him away before I go to jail. It's that simple. Get him away. I can't see him ever again. He doesn't exist.
Oh man, Vernon Hargreaves.
It's a fight on sight, for real. It's a fight on sight. You're trying to cost me Super Bowl. I'm gonna kill you. I'm going to kill you. You know everything we risked to get here. You lost your mind.
Oh man. Oh, that guy.
Get him out of here, or I'm going to jail. That was his thing.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
one. Yeah. It'll be interesting. I wonder what his career trajectory looks like after this.
Probably.
I wonder.
Yeah. I don't think he'll be
how this young man will fare.
Practice squad, maybe practice squad somewhere.
How about this? All of that was viable, but can I trust that you're going to keep your ass on the bench? Because you're a practice squad player. I
Right,
do
exactly.
not care about you in any shape, form, or fashion. So the fact, I'm being dead honest, the fact that I have to think about that as a coach, no, you're not on my team.
No.
The fact that I have to think those thoughts, that a practice squad player might run off the bench. Nope. Next was the legend of the professors, right? Who, like, if your pages was, if they wouldn't even read your essay if it was so many pages long. They would feel the weight and just be like, F, throw it down. That was a legend that I heard. Like, yo, for real. A practice squad player did what? I have to worry that he's going to get a penalty. A practice squad player. I have to worry about he's going to get a penalty. Bye. Yeah. That is not something I am putting anywhere near my worry.
No. Got enough worries as a head coach.
That was so crazy. That's not talked about enough. You should have put that in loser of the week.
Oh yeah, if that category, he would be number one. Off-season storylines. Aaron Rodgers is next destination. The Packers apparently have said that they are going to come close to spending at the cap and try to go somewhat all in. So, so according to Aaron Rodgers, basically, and he said this, weeks ago, that this decision is not going to take as long. It's not going to be dragged out over the course of the offseason.
So you think they're trying to figure out what happens with Devontae Adams.
Right.
So you can't just take his sweet ass time because Devontae Adams is tied to what he's going to do, and other teams are going to be poking around and trying to get him. And then there's no reason, if you're Aaron Rodgers and you were on the fence to come back to Green Bay, and then Devontae Adams walks out the door. So you need to make your decision.
Right.
In a fair amount of time, so that Devontae Adams has an adequate, if you choose not to come back, he has an adequate amount of time to survey the free agent market.
Right. Or they choose to.
Or at least that's what a good teammate would do. We'll see.
We'll see. Russell Wilson possibly being traded. I know they've already said at the beginning of the offseason, or at the end of the season, that the band is all coming. The band, they're bringing all the band back. Wilson, Carroll, and Snyder. But
and bring them all back.
But
I do believe they do not know what they're doing.
They don't.
Yeah, I do believe it. So sure, bring them all back. None of us are scared at all.
No. I think that we know that time is past. But this is something that, listen, he's going to be, they're going to be a number of teams that are going to be making those calls. If you see again, if I were running to Seattle,
they need to put that in place right now so Russell Wilson doesn't walk out that door. Like, Russell, trust us. We're on the phone. We're getting Sean Payton.
Yep.
Yes. We're getting him.
Yep.
Don't worry, because what has been very clear is Pete Carroll is a defensive-minded coach.
Right.
And this transition to being fully quarterback dominant has been a struggle to figure out how to build around.
Yep.
This is one of those cases where I'm like, yeah, they need a new young offensive mind at that head coaching position, or an offensive genius, as in Sean Payton. I mean, that's not
right.
The question. But in lieu of that, then they need a new offensive young. That's what Russell Wilson's looking around, looking at all these NFL offenses.
It would be nice.
That makes sense. And he's looking at what they're doing and going, I feel like we're behind the times here.
Yep.
I feel like this is me. And I mean, we've said this for a number of years. This is no secret. This feels like a team relying on my unique offensive skill set in lieu of actually designing some things that confuse defenses. So I think that's what I think if management, the owner, let's keep it real. Like, literally, the picture at the Super Bowl was of Russ sitting next to Roger Goodell.
Yes.
Talking his ear off, right?
Yep.
Like, that's the level. So we're only talking about the owner.
Like that, like let's stop playing games. There's only one level with Russell Wilson. The owner needs to assure him they're going to get a new voice in there that is going to benefit him as a quarterback. If not, he's gone. And they should trade him because they don't know what they're doing with him.
No.
So if Pete Carroll there, he's got to go.
Yeah, I mean that listen, they had a great run.
What a great offseason it would be to have Russell Wilson.
It would be, it would. That would be.
Imagine like they both came over to the AFC. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that would be wild. That would be wild. that would be wild. As if the AFC needs any more quarterbacks. No, we need the NFC needs the NFC needs
stay over there.
Rodgers to stay in
I
the
just
NFC.
needed to say that before you said it, and I would have a heart attack. I just need to say it, put it out there. Please, no, don't let that happen.
No,
please, no. My heart can't take that. I don't want that. I'm getting too old for this.
Questions for Sap. Did Cooper Kupp just have the greatest season ever for a wide receiver?
I thought about that one. I did. I think the answer is yes and no. I am a hesitant fan of Kupp. I think he's an excellent route runner. I think he is I was thinking about it. He's a better developed Wes Welker. That's where I was kind of slotting him into.
Right.
There is Cooper Kupp will never, ever be confused for Randy Moss. Ever be confused with Calvin Johnson.
No.
Ever be confused with Jerry Rice. Come on now. No. So let's slow down this point. Break for a second. But in terms of like a singular season, statistically, it was an awesome season.
Right. So yes, he wins the Triple Crown. He wins the Triple Crown. He finishes third in the MVP voting, wins the Super Bowl MVP, and has one of the great postseason statistically of all time.
It is an awesome season.
Yep.
It was absolutely. I said this all. It was absolutely Stafford and Kupp's year. It was absolutely their year. I think the drive in the third quarter was a microcosm of what I think about Kupp. I think that Kupp can get open at any moment.
Yep.
I do believe that. And I like him making tough catches. Kupp cannot take the consistent pounding of a dominant number one receiver. As you saw, by the end of that drive, he's about dead in that end zone. So statistically, and this is the thing, I just had to look up every other comparison. Remember,
but the only guy in terms of winning is Jerry Rice. So you gotta look at one of these Jerry Rice seasons, and he's the only guy that's in the conversation.
Yeah, but you also have to look at the extra game. You have to look at per game averages.
Yeah.
You got to dive into numbers. That's a great hot topic to say.
Right.
But if you really want to talk about it, you got to have the actual stats to back it up over a period of time, and not over a period of time, but equate what was going on in that season to what's going on in this season and everything.
Well, you got to take
that one is
the eras, 16, the eras,
and one is 17. It matters. It does.
It does matter. It matters. Yes.
So now let's look at that over a 16 period. Let's look at the average per game of receptions. Let's get average per game of receiving yards. Let's get the average per game, not average per game of touchdowns. But touchdowns per, then we can go into how many third down conversions, everything like that. Out of like the three big loud buckets, given the extra game, he's had the greatest statistical season of all time. But that's a lot of caveats. So
that is a lot of caveats.
That's why I think that's a deeper question that the eye test Real says no to me.
No.
I've seen great wide receiver seasons. The eye test says no.
No. Yes. No. I mean, the better
but I have to look at the numbers, statistical things.
Right. He's had the most. All right. The better statement would be there's like for a single season he accomplished more than any other receiver. the most accomplished receiver for a single season.
I like that. I agree with that. I like
That would be the better one and the fairer one.
Yeah. When you start throwing around the word grazers, it just there's a lot.
Right. Yeah.
There's just a lot that goes into that.
Yeah. Team to watch in 2022.
Yeesh. I mean, since I just saw them, the Bengals.
Bengals?
Yeah. Because the Bengals were early this year. They were
very early.
They were early. That by they're just early. I'm like, who are these guys and why are they here? They're early. They'll be right on time next year. Now, does this L hurt them or does it help them?
Right.
Do they mature as a team? Do their superstars mature as individuals? Do they mature as play callers, head coaches? All the different things with expectations mounting. That's the thing. That's the thing. And my team had to go through this year. The changes in expectations matter. They do. To Tyler Murray's point, why isn't everybody just kissing my butt anymore? Because the expectations have changed. They've changed. It's now we expect more of you.
Yeah.
We will expect more of the Bengals. Now, if you say a non-playoff team, it's San Diego, and it's not even close.
Yeah. You mean LA Chargers? Yeah, Chargers.
God, LA, you're right.
Yeah.
I'll never be used to that.
No, yeah.
The LA Chargers.
Yes.
The LA Chargers, sure. I can't handle that name. But yes, like that is the one that has my spider senses tingling on that team. My spider senses.
Well, we know. Obviously, they had a great quarterback. I can see if they don't live up to expectations, then we know Sean Payton will be the next head coach.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah, I'm not putting any of the big teams into this at all. So all of those there, and then of course, if Aaron Rodgers is not on the Packers, whatever team Aaron Rodgers.
Whatever team, yes. Yep.
It literally doesn't matter what team. Whatever team he's on will be the one to watch in 2022. Because at that point, essentially, he will be all in. Now the expectation is, and that's always what happens with a change of scenery. Now this new scenery doesn't care about everything you did for Green Bay.
No.
Doesn't care at all.
No.
So now the expectation actually is, you need to come in here and win a Super Bowl. Yeah, you kind of do.
Well, it'll be similar to James Harden from a standpoint of you got your way, produce.
Yeah. Now you need to come in and win a Super Bowl. You do. That's the expectation, sir. That is. And you had Green Bay that will coddle you after you lost in the championship game or in the divisional round. They would call you, they'd say, Aaron Rodgers will be okay, and life is so good for you, and we love you, and please don't leave. They would do that. This new place won't do that.
No. What were your thoughts on the halftime show?
Not a good look for 90s hip hop, sir. I heard other fans that were good with what they saw.
Right.
From a nostalgic perspective.
Yep.
I would question those fans' love of hip hop. And I'll put that mildly. What I would say was it was the poppiest pop version of hip hop that could be produced. And it was for the Super Bowl. So what did I expect?
Right.
And so in the end of the day, it's exactly what I expected. But I'm sitting there, I'm just like, these are my elders. And this is exactly like watching my 60-year-old cousins do stupid stuff. We're too old for this. Just at a certain point in time, we just are. No 50, no club. No club. No in the club. Nope. Past them days. The days are gone. My favorite part was actually when Dre sat down and started playing piano. I was like,
That was hot. That actually was
Don't get me
dope.
that
That
line.
that was dope.
That's mature. That's the vibe I'm in right now. Growing up with this music, that's the vibe I'm in. Because that doesn't what I saw doesn't reflect what that music was at the time it came out.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yes. So
So sure. But it wasn't even nostalgic for me. It was just, honestly, if I had to use a harsh word, I say it was just for like multi-millionaires and billionaires up there. It was just it was kind of sad. Kind of sad.
and lazy, a little sad and lazy. To me. So here's the thing. I I had this fear going into it in terms
You did.
of
You own this. You own this. I was like, oh, whatever.
I was like
I
I was
see
like
it,
because
but now I was like,
my thing.
I
Here's
don't
my
like
thing. This is too many. I was
Real
like
is right.
I
I
said
don't like this. I don't like it.
I
I
say it's
don't
too
like
many acts. It's too
Yeah.
many. I
It's
I am
wrong.
I like the traditional one at most two acts and let me just see rest in peace. Let me just see let Prince do his thing. I would have been fine with let Kendrick Lamar do his thing. I don't need like 5, 6 people like nah B because it then is too much. Then like to your point, it becomes like a jukebox. Like no, I love Mary. All the artists on there except Eminem, I fuck with the exception of Eminem. Um, I fuck with over the course of my lifetime. But nah, B, it was too much and too choppy and it just like and then the thing that even pissed me off. Oh my god! And I probably shouldn't even looked at the comments and Twitter. Oh, man, when you start talking about best halftime performance ever, and just I was like, stop, please stop, please. And people were gushing over it. And I was like, no. And this is not even old man talk to me. I was just like, no. What these the people who were saying this were
We're
not
all
young
old
people.
men. Like I get why people are saying that because there's rarely a certain type of representation
Right.
at the halftime show. So I get it. I get why people are excited about that.
Yes.
I do get it. For me, that's not how I want to see. That's just not how I want to see the type of music that I like represented. To be honest with you, though, Real, I was thinking as I was sitting there, I was like, Mary's the play. Like for a Super Bowl, I think the Super Bowl, if to be lack of tact in the way that I'm going to say this, Super Bowl is more singing, not rap. I don't think hip hop is designed for a Super Bowl halftime show. To be honest,
I agree with that. I actually agree. Yeah, I do. I actually agree with that. Yeah.
you know, even hearing the word NWA, I'm like, this just doesn't go with this.
No,
time.
it depends. Like so, okay. So to your point about the hip hop rap, only somebody like Kendrick, because Kendrick is a he's beyond just being a rapper.
Kendrick's the one. He would
He's
be
the one. Kendrick could do it.
Absolutely. He's exceptional.
Yes.
Absolutely. Which is why exactly. He was the only one that was up there. Trey, I know the connection. I know all that, but Big Sean wouldn't have been up there, for example.
No.
If you want to call that like the Dream Team comparison to Christian Laettner, no, let's say you know, I can't even go with like a Nas wouldn't even do that's not even a thing he would even think about doing.
No.
Lil Wayne, let's say Lil Wayne's to Shaq for a halftime show. Can't do that. So I think Kendrick is as close as you get to a performer who can perform to the level that is still not just sell his absolute soul right there on stage to water down the performance as much as possible, to make it as palpable as possible for people who don't normally consume that type of music. Ooh, that was very political.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Because there was also comments that it was too sexual, the performance. So that's why you just have way too many people watching that
right.
have no concept of what's going on with that type of music, with hip hop. So it's just like you'll never like no, that just isn't a venue, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, no.
Then you might as well just put Coolio up there every year and have him sing Dangerous Minds. Rap Dangerous Minds.
Oh, cool.
Too legit to quit. That's good.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness.
You know, the stuff that's played at the, you know, at Granny's house at the barbecue. You know. The things that's the halftime show. All right, I'm done.
Yeah. It like I said, it didn't.
That's halftime hip hop is what I should say.
It was just like, yeah, I wasn't impressed. I'm good if they never do a halftime show like that where it's a bunch of artists of any genre. I don't want to see a bunch of acts.
I mean, you can do it well. You can do it well. It just needs to be done well. But just for that, for like, so
what's the max? What's the max?
Here's the point. Here's what I mean. Like a good producer can produce anything with the right set of talent.
Right.
Here's what happened. Dre was supposed to be the through line, but honestly, to your point, what they did was just get the biggest names of an era.
Yes.
There was no cohesiveness to that.
No.
I looked at like Surreal. What was that set? What was the set?
I have no idea. That shit looked like something out of.
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
There's no cohesive. What was I looking at?
I don't know.
I didn't even understand why I was looking. I'm like, what is this set? What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know what that set was.
It can be done, but man, it's gonna be have to be at a much more higher quality than that. If you're gonna even attempt it. But to your point, it probably shouldn't be attempted.
No, that's the thing about that's the thing. That's the thing. It should. Yeah, just don't try it. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
Well, I think it's two different concepts. I think what the NFL wants and what their partners want is kind of the Super Bowl halftime show to be the background music and to bring in the casual viewers, right? Like that's why they're at the party, right? They don't care about football. They're there for commercials and a halftime show. So keep that energy. That I'm fine with that energy, but what we're saying is when you bring in our style, then that doesn't match that type of energy. That's not just background. Dre and Snoop at their apex were not background music. I'm not just having that playing in the background while I'm chilling.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. I think the energy that they want and the artists that they get have to match. And when it's a bad match, and you ID'd this very early on, there's not a lot of ways in which they can recover because the NFL isn't about putting on music shows. That's not what they do. But they coordinate every part of Super Bowl weekend, every part of it. So the people who've never ever produced music in their life are giving notes to artists that have been doing this for 40 years.
Right.
30 years. So that's what I mean. It can be done, but it needs to be at a high level. It would be a professional choreographer of concerts, of sets of music to bring whole things in, and artists who play off of each other well.
Now, getting back to one of your original points, the cohesion. It's about the cohesion. Like this is to use a sports.
Even in their prime, were all those artists ever on one track at one time?
I don't know.
There you go.
No.
That's your answer.
No.
That's your answer. So even in their apexes, in a genre and a style that would have been conducive to all their performing, they were not all ever on the track at one time.
No.
For a reason. Dre knows that's not a mix. He's not bringing all them in and saying give me your best, and then I'm gonna make this. No, you know, you can't put what? You can't put all that together. That's crazy.
No.
Mary J, 50, Kendrick, Eminem.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. Figure out that song for me, please.
Yeah.
I can't.
No.
So you were 100% accurate on this one, like 100%.
A lot of people, and again, my expectations of Super Bowl commercials are not as high as they once were. I
Wait,
understand.
really quickly, Will, I'm actually kind of interested. Who's your team to watch in 2022?
Oh, my team to watch in 2022. Not Cincinnati. I'm very interested to see Baltimore.
Yeah, that is an interesting one.
And because the reason why I think I know John Harbaugh's a very good coach. I like Lamar Jackson. You get rid of the defensive coordinator. Like what? So I'm curious. Like what is what direction is this going to go in? I'm very they should be good, and they're a well-run organization, but they're kind of in that. They're kind of like to me where Seattle was at a few years ago.
Right now. Yeah,
this is a pivot point. It's a very important year for that franchise moving forward. Even though Lamar Jackson is younger than what Russell Wilson was even years ago, but still,
they have maxed out this version of Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
They have maxed it out. We've seen the ceiling of it. We have.
Right.
We've seen the ceiling, and now teams are now starting to counterpunch. And that counterpunch means your quarterback can't make it through a season.
No.
So, got to figure something else out.
Yeah.
Could not be more accurate on that one.
So I'm fascinated to see what, and again, that division, that's a brutal division. The AFC is brutal in general. So it's not like you're not getting a breather.
You're not
at all. And you gotta they have to take the next step. That in terms of to your point, in terms of the evolution of that offense, I have to see something else. Like I got what is your counter move offensively from a philosophical standpoint? What's the counter?
They got that talent at the skill position.
Oh yeah, that goes out. Yeah, that goes out saying you got it.
You relied on that singular talent long enough.
They've written that. They've written that to you got an MVP.
Players, you got to now. Now you got to.
Because I believe that I think he can be just the ultimate weapon. He's shown you he's improved. He improved as a passer this year. He really did. He took a step as a passer in the games that I saw.
You have to improve. You're absolutely right. Now you need to give him the weapons to go along with his skill set.
Yeah.
So you can really explode.
Yeah. And the potential, if they do it correctly, the potential for that offense is just insane because just what they can do to a defense as far as with the running game and just worrying about him and his legs, there's no defense for it.
You give Lamar a version of a Hill and a Kelsey combo.
Right.
Not saying exact talent skill level because that's crazy.
But even Pro Bowl caliber.
But yes, exactly. I don't know how you stop that. I truly don't.
Right.
And I don't want it to happen because I have no clue how you stop that. At all. Because that's not even taking into account the devastation that play action fake. The run pass, the RPO would have.
Right. The run pass option, yes. Yeah.
It would be devastating. It would just be devastating.
So team. That'd be a
like a downgrade, but still equally as devastating for that would be like a Diggs, what's our tight end's name? Dawson Knox combination.
Right.
So that would be like a downgraded skill level. Diggs is not as talented as Hill. Knox is not talented as
Well, they have all. I mean,
but
Andrews is a
that
beast.
it's a great combo.
Right.
So having that type of, like you said, Pro Bowl caliber talent, oh my goodness.
I mean, you have the tight end. Like you have the hard. To me, it's hard.
That's right.
It's hard to find a tight end and a quality
You're right.
tight end than it is a
You're
receiver.
right.
To
That's
me,
fair. That's fair. You're right. You're right. I am discounting Andrews.
yeah, Andrews is a beast. Andrews is a true is a beast. So just get the
I'm not fond of his athleticism, but
right.
that offense he works.
He's
very
reliable. Yes, he's consistent.
You're
He's
right.
consistent.
You're right. You're right. They just need to then a Pro Bowl, one Pro Bowl wide receiver, and a viable number 2.
Yes.
And that offense is off to the races.
Right.
Honestly, a number 1 wide receiver takes that thing to the next.
Oh yeah. No, they would. Yeah. I mean that again. That it's gonna be interesting.
That's the move. In one ways, Cincinnati and Baltimore, annoying positions to be in because they're glaring weaknesses, but it's such obvious, right? Baltimore knows what it needs to do to go get better. Get that talent on that wide receiver. It's gonna be hard to get it, but you get that elevates your offense. Cincinnati, you got to get that offensive line fixed.
Yeah, I mean that's easy. Yeah, that's.
It's gonna be hard because identify it, but you have to do. What, and that's going to elevate your offense. So they're hard problems to have, but at least you know what the thing to do to elevate your offensive side of the ball. Not talking about defense. We're just talking about the offenses.
I'm also curious before you go here. San Francisco with the Trey Lance. I'm curious to watch that because that's Shanahan's guy. That's his guy. That's going to be his guy.
That's a good one. That's a good. That's a great one. I can't tell if that situation has been mismanaged or not.
Right.
So I'm just going to be fascinated to see. Because
if I'm the general manager, if I'm the owner, like, and I'm sure Kroenke was looking at McVay before the year saying like, look, this is your guy. We traded we traded picks and Jared Goff, who you thought was your guy for Stafford. You better win. Like this is on you now. It's not. I don't want to hear in the offseason that Stafford is not the guy, or like you said, Goff wasn't. This is your guy. So if I'm the owner of San Francisco, I'm saying because eventually, of course, they're gonna get rid of Jimmy G. Trey Lance, Kyle Shanahan is your guy. This is your guy. This is on you. He better be good.
Without. No. You have to make him good, not just
you
good.
You have to make it right. Yes, you have to make him good. Exactly. Yes, this is your guy. We traded picks. You drafted him. You traded picks to get him.
Is it?
This is your guy. No more blaming Jimmy G.
Got him. You got him.
Yep. Jimmy G will be no longer here to blame. Nope. This is your guy.
That day's gone. That cover's gone.
Yep. So
you won't have me around here to kick around anymore.
Nope.
Good luck, coach.
Nope. Like it. Yeah. So that the Trey Lance thing. I haven't seen enough of him to say what I don't know. I don't know what Trey Lance is like. I don't know the upside. Hasn't been on field. Of course, we know he's athletic, but again, haven't seen enough of him to say what's going to happen. I honestly don't know. I don't know. I love Shanahan as a play caller. We know he's one of the best play callers in the league, offensive minds in the league. We clearly know that. But yeah, that was semi risky move. Not so much getting rid of Jimmy G, but basically going to put the keys in the hands of second-year quarterback.
It is everything you said is 100% accurate. He is tied to Trey Lance's fate. Period. End of story. So he is betting that he can make him a great quarterback.
Right.
Because what you essentially are saying and what you said was, I need this guy to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Got to Super Bowl with Jimmy G.
Right.
They said he's not good enough. We need an upgrade. Okay, well, that upgrade is winning the Super Bowl. So that's why I said you got to make this guy pretty damn good.
Yes.
If not great, to get to that goal. So yeah, this is all you, sir. He gave himself no cover.
No.
I don't know. I might have messed around with Jimmy G for a little bit longer. He was a great punching bag to have. He really was.
I mean, listen,
matter what
have we ever seen a
Oh,
situation? Here's the thing: have we ever seen a situation where a quarterback did not benefit from sitting an extra year? Like, when has that situation? Like, when has sitting hurt a quarterback?
I mean, like, I think honestly, we could go back through the wreckages of quarterbacks' careers and come up with a lot of different examples of when sitting was not the greatest thing for that quarterback.
But I've never seen it ruin a quarterback.
To your point, I mean, like I said, we would really have to go back in that. And like, that's a hard statement for me to wrap my head around with. But what I will agree with you is that the thing that makes this one so interesting to me is how he sat Trey Lance. Jimmy G struggling. Trey Lance, you're going to come up? Yeah, right. We know Jimmy G's back. You sit down. Yeah. Everything like that. And now we're not going to see you, but we're going to tease that you could potentially play for half the season, right? Like, that's the part where I'm just like, I'm not sure that was managed correctly. Right. I don't know. I don't know. Like, you're saying to me, in one ear you're saying, I'm the future, and the next year you're saying, but I'm not good enough. In one instance, you're saying this guy's a bum, but in the other instance, you're saying he's better than me.
Well, he's a better coach. He's a better coach than this guy I'm gonna bring up, but it's not that far fetched from the Miami situation last year with Fitzpatrick and
I don't disagree. I just don't. I don't. That's why when you said it, I was like, this is a perfect one. I have no clue. I'm fascinated by this one. My instinct says that's not the best way to go about things, but, you know, he's the head coach. So I'm just going to want to watch this play out. I am incredibly interested in Shanahan, who is not a generational offensive mind. At least he hasn't proven it yet. But right. What I will give him, what I've called him in the past, is he's a dominant play caller.
Yes.
Meaning, like, he will undress a defense. Yes. He will just undress a defense. Like, it's not just like, oh, that was a nice 3-yard slant. No. He's got your whole left side of the defensive backfield and linebackers looking one way, and he's throwing all the way over to the right. And that receiver's wide open because he put a move on the cornerback at the line of scrimmage. I mean, just dominant in the ways. Then, you know, their run blocking is legendary. We don't have to do that with the Shanahan.
Here's the thing about Shanahan, right? So
I've never seen him raise a pup.
Right. Here's the thing about Shanahan.
That is the fascinating key to this. Like, you have to raise. Like, this is somebody you got to raise. You got to raise the quarterback from start to finish.
Here's the thing about Shanahan, and this is what separates McVay from him, even before the Super Bowl win. It's consistency. Like, McVay has 5 winning seasons and 4 playoff appearances. With Shanahan, has been either hit or miss. Like, so you gotta, like, you can't, like, and I used to see this a lot with Atlanta and Carolina in particular, with Ron Rivera in Carolina. Like, they would go 13-3, and then it'd be 6-10, and then 8-8. Like to go to that next level as a coach, as a franchise, you gotta be year in and year out good. And Shanahan has not proven that with San Francisco.
Nope.
So this year again is similar to Baltimore. It's a big year for that franchise moving forward. Because they have a lot. Like, that team has talent. Like, they have a lot. Their defense is set. All they gotta do is get a cornerback. Offensively, they're gonna get Mozart back, and their running game. They're like, offensively, they have the foundational pieces with the offensive line and the tight end and the running backs, and we love Deebo Samuel, who's a beast, and maybe they can add a weapon, add a secondary receiver, of course, but the foundational pieces are there. for that team. That is a talented team. That is a win now team. Period. They don't need a lot. They almost. I mean, they were not that far away this year. Like they came very close to beating the Rams, to being in the Super Bowl this year. So that team needs that. Like I can't see a situation. I can't be satisfied. I'll be very disappointed if I'm a San Francisco fan, if I'm a 49er fan, and that team is 8-9 or 9-8 misses the playoffs. Like no, that can't happen. If I'm a fan of San Francisco,
it's gonna be hard as a San Francisco 49ers fan to experience the backslide and then hear the excuse to be patient. It's gonna be hard to hear.
No, we're ready to win now. There's no fuck the patience. Like this, our team right now is ready to win. We have a win now team. It's not like period. Like that team is built to win right now, and especially in the NFC where you can have a situation where no Tom Brady and no Aaron Rodgers. Like no, the NFC is there to be had. Period.
Essentially, what you're saying to me with a move like this is you believe Trey Lance is the approximation of Patrick Mahomes.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
You don't turn a franchise, a Super Bowl winning, a Ferrari. You don't turn that through the night. You don't turn a Ferrari over to the 14-year-old kid.
Right.
If you don't believe he's a savant.
Right.
Like Patrick Mahomes, right?
Right.
He driving a Ferrari when he was 12. Like what? Like no. Who throws 50 touchdowns like that? Nobody does. What's happening? It's just like what? So like what you're saying is essentially that because you got a ready-made team. You don't normally turn a ready-made team over to a first-year player.
No.
At quarterback. Unless you think he's out of this world. So again, those expectations keep rising. So real.
And to your point, very similar circumstances because Alex Smith, like Jimmy G, had a ceiling. Very good quarterback, win a lot of games, but they're not going to take you. They're not going to ultimately get over that hump.
It wasn't.
So yeah, you have to be all. I mean, we talk about that's kind of been a theme of this podcast. All in. He must be all in on Trey Lance. All in.
Gotta be.
So that will be very I will definitely have my eye on that. Well, we did it. 22 weeks. A season again, longest season ever. And listen, the NFL is 365 anyway. Like the draft is right around the corner. Free agency it's a never ending. A player is going to do something stupid in the offseason. That those storylines will never end.
In Bills fandom, we are at the who's going to stay, who's going to go.
Yep.
We've done our draft research. We're the players we need. Now we need to start cutting some of this out.
Yep.
Now we need to get that cap situation correct. So that's where we are in the offseason stage. So you're right, 365.
Yep. And as far as the Commanders, we have plenty of cap space, which is a scary thought because there are going to be some players on the team that I'm like, really? We gave him $30 million? Cool. All right. Yep.
They never learn from lesson, like ever. They never learn the lesson. They're always like, please, who's the oldest person we can spend the most on? Yeah, I need y'all to stop.
Albert Hainsworth, Mark Carrier.
Just stop doing it. Just stop. It's bad. It's a bad strategy. I don't know how many more examples you need, but please stop it.
Yeah.
I'm worried. I'm worried about your franchise because I know that lesson Snyder took away from that game. I know. I don't know what every owner's lesson.
Snyder's like, all in. Let's go all in. Yeah.
God, I know that. I know. Everybody was just like, yo, go to bed. Go harass somebody. Leave the team alone. Go, Snyder. Go away. No. Go to bed.
They will be in talks in terms of like you'll hear the rumors with them with every quarterback that becomes available. They were going to be forget about Russell Wilson. They will be they're going to be.
I legit cannot wait for the Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams to the Commanders rumors. I legit can't wait for that. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. And I cannot wait for it. I cannot wait for that.
We are the equivalent, like, but they are like the equivalent of the Knicks. Like LeBron was never coming to the Knicks. Dwayne Wade in his prime never came to the Knicks.
Ever.
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 Ever. Ever. Ever. And you would look at the Knicks fan and just be like, yo, y'all so delusional. You're so delusional.
So,
and this, at a certain point, it got sad and then your heart just hurt for them.
So what we'll do is we will sign whoever the NFL version of Amari Stoudemire with a bad knee is. That's who we'll sign.
There you
It's-
go.
that's
Oh, I forgot about that. Ooh, that was deep.
Yeah. That'll be who we
Quick
sign.
shake. Ow, that one hurt. Ooh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I'm not a Knicks fan. Ooh, that was
Yeah.
bad.
That was
bad. That
Yep.
was bad.
Yeah. He was an MVP candidate for like
He
41
was.
games.
He was.
41 games.
He was. He good. He played good for a
And
while.
then yeah. Yeah.
Story of the Knicks life. All
Yep.
these guys by playing good for a short amount of time. Yeah. And that time is never in the playoffs.
No.
Yeah.
All right, Robert Sapp.
All right.
Thanks for the joining me on the program. I had a lot of fun. Certainly look forward to the off season and next season as well.
Appreciate you, sir. Have a great one. Can't wait to do it again.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Ril Dil podcast. This episode will be up by the end of the night. I'll put this episode up by the end of the night. Remember, next Thursday, we are starting our weekly snowfall recaps. I cannot wait. I'm in the midst of watching season 4 now. About halfway through season 4 in terms of the rewatch. I cannot wait to this season 5. The season 5 of Snowfall is going to be insane. We're going to do Thursday evening shows, and I had the podcast up that very night. So the first one would be, of course, February 24th, Snowfall season 5. Be on the lookout for that. That's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Ril Dil podcast. As always, thanks to Robert Sapp. Have a great rest of your evening. So long.